So this is my first fixed blade video in quite some time. I have gotten quite a few new knives, but I just haven't had the time really to sit down and talk about them. I have been using them, but I have not always been making videos about it. Anyways, I'm skipping a bit ahead here, since I got this knife today, this very morning. It was sent from DLT Friday evening, got to me across the world by Monday morning. It's pretty impressive. I haven't done a lot of work with it, obviously. I did fix the sheath with some obenaus, and I also put it on the strop just a bit, not because it wasn't sharp, because it was very sharp, but I like to I have sort of a introduction process when I get new knives, and it's been working out quite well for me. Anyways, so this is the Bark River collaboration with Fobos Knives, Eric Hansen. This is the MKB-9, I think it's called. I actually got a bit unsure there for a second. These two knives are Legions. They were the first, I think, collaboration between Bark River and Fobos. Then they made it Tier 1, which I do not own. But the Legion I've been pretty satisfied with, or not pretty satisfied, I'm fully satisfied with these two knives. I did make sort of a mod on this one though, because the handle is removable, and I felt I wanted at least to have one with a glued epoxy handle. So this one I actually this handle is no longer removable. Anyways, this is what the Legion looks like. I don't think I've showed it in any video as of yet. And I like this knife. It's CPM 154. I have limited experience with that blade steel, but so far I had no problem with it. This one is in Burgundy, matte Burgundy canvas micarta. This one is in pink G10 with some black liners. And I really like how this matte pink looks with the black liners. It's pretty sweet. But also I'm using two different kinds of sheath, but this is the standard for the Legion. This is just a larger version, I would say, for the MKB-9. Easy to put on and off. So, away with those. This is a bit of a larger knife, and also in another blade steel as well. Might be some obenaus on it. So this is the MKB-9, 9-inch long blade, 0.250 thickness. I think it weighs about 16 ounces, so there is some weight to it. Not, terribly forward heavy, but of course it is forward heavy. There are some interesting grind lines to it here. I'm not really sure what you call this kind of grind, but I am sure that I find it to look kind of neat, to be honest. There is some very heavy jimping going on here on the spine, on the back part of the spine, and also on this part of the handle. There is a more rounded choil compared to the Legion, which had a more flat kind of choil. This still worked for me. I mean, I had no real problem with the more flat choil, but I think more people will find this better or more comfortable in some sense. So like I said, this blade is very new to me. I've had it for a few hours, maybe not even 2 hours, maybe. So I haven't done any real work with it, but I will later today. I'm gonna do some finer tasks with it. Gonna do some heavier tasks. I will do some chopping with it because I think that is one of the intended design purposes of the knife, given the size and the thickness. And I think that we should talk a bit about what blades this knife compares to. So that's going to be the next segment of this specific video. So I've picked out a few blades that I think are relevant when comparing the MKB. There are no blades here with a blade length of more than 10 inches. I think the longest blade here is actually the Dakar, which is 9.4 inches. Anyways, once again, this is the MKB-9, 9 inches long blade. The closest one, sort of, I would say, is the Kalahari Magnum Camp Knife, which is actually slightly shorter. I do think the blade length of this one is 8.75. I might be wrong, but around 8.75 inches blade length. Then if we go slightly longer, we have the Grizzly, which is 9.25 maybe. I'm actually not sure. I haven't been looking at the specs in a long while. I am just using them. But Grizzly having a thicker spine and a bit different grind. I really like the Grizzly, and I've been using it a lot for different chopping tasks. And I think it's a very reasonable chopper at that. So I'm very curious how the MKB-9 will compare to the Grizzly in actual use. I can do a side by side with the Kalahari Magnum as well. You can see the Magnum Kalahari Camp Knife is slightly thinner, and it's slightly shorter away there. They look to be almost the same actually, but then we have, of course, the JX5. I have both the first generation here with a slightly thicker spine, and the second generation with a slightly thinner spine. Both of them excel at chopping, which we have already seen, both in videos made by myself, but also by other people posting videos of them using them for chopping tasks. Lastly, we have, I think actually that the JX5, maybe it is exactly 9 inches now that I think about it. That could very well be the case, but as you can see, it is a totally different totally different style of blade compared to the MKB. Very different knives. And you can see actually here on the, maybe you cannot see, that there is a difference in thickness here compared to the JX5. The Fobos MKB is indeed the thicker knife. But if we compare it to the first generation, we will see that they are about equal. I do think that the Fobos looks thicker by a small margin. Anyways, the biggest and longest blade here, not by much, would be the car, which is an outstanding chopper. You can do a lot of other stuff with it as well, but also a very different knife compared to the MKB. I know that there are a lot of people that wants to see some footage of me doing some real chopping, light, medium, maybe even heavy chopping with this knife, and I will do it. And I will compare the results to the other knives here, but one will have to remember that it's not all about chopping. I think the aim of this knife was to make a very versatile tool for lots of different tasks, chopping being just one of many. That can of course also be said about knives such as the Grizzly or the Kalahari Magnum camp knife. And I mean, you can tell right away that the car and the MKB-9, they will chop differently. And I do not think that the JX5 or that a car will be out-chopped. I'm not so sure that the Grizzly will be out-chopped either, but it will be interesting with these, with the Kalahari Magnum, with the MKB-9 and the Grizzly, to see how they perform, because I like the Kalahari Magnum and I like the Grizzly, and I think I will like this one as well. Just for reference, I'm gonna put this knife, I'm gonna do like sort of this comparison thing, but with my absolute largest knives, just for fun. So I switched out the blades. Looks a bit different now. You know, when a blade such as this one, the 1909 Michigan Bowie, when it looks small, then you know the other knives are kind of big, because this is a 10-inch blade, 0.250 blade thickness. This is a kick-ass blade, by the way. I love this knife. Actually, I should see if I can get my hands on one more, because this is such a great knife. Anyways, 10-inch knife looking small. Maybe because we are comparing them now to blades such as the Battle Cleaver, which is kind of a large blade, kind of forward heavy. Not your typical EDC, I would say. This is probably my heaviest knife of them all. Then we have the Pro Brush knife. Kind of a large knife as well. The Parang, I'd say it's sort of large too. This is also my absolute best chopper, together with the, no, not the MKB, but the Grasso Bolo 3. Then we have, last but not least, the Shining Mountain Bowie. So, and then we have the MKB-9, not so big anymore. Looks like a small EDC knife compared to these beasts. So what do I expect from this knife compared to the rest of these? To be honest, I don't expect anything, or I expect it to not be nearly as good as a chopper as any of these, but I do expect it to be better at finer tasks. That I gotta say. But there is no chance in hell that this knife will outperform any of these when it comes to chopping. That is not going to happen. I can, of course, make a comparison video if someone wants to see the MKB-9 go head to head with the Parang, but I mean, it won't be very interesting. You can't compare apples with oranges, you know. But I thought this was, you know, just fun little comparison to do. But I have to be realistic here, so it looks so small. But even small knives can pack quite a punch. You know, I should probably go on ahead and start doing some different work with this one. I don't think I can sit around any longer and just talk. So, reference chopping, reference piece of wood, reference piece of tool, Bolo 3, good reference tool, piece of paper for sharpness reference. Then again, that is what I want to do with MKB, but now that I have it in hand, I might as well. I mean, why not? So it's short. Hold on. Reference cut. Bolo 3 style. Damn. Didn't even try that hard. Good cut. So what do we have here? I do have my Parang here, but that's not really necessary right now, I think. This, however, will be interesting, because this is the first time I will chop this into a piece of wood. I hope the blade doesn't break. Could happen. Maybe not. I'm almost getting nervous. You know, I really didn't go all in because I got concerned I would break the blade. No, of course I wouldn't break it, but I could probably cut in a bit harder. That could be said about the Bolo 3 also, of course. I think I'll do one more. Yeah, this one a bit deeper. I mean, there is still a difference compared to the, I don't know how well you can see that, but the Bolo did, of course, bite the deepest by quite a margin. It almost bit all the way through compared to the MKB, but I'm impressed with the MKB as well. Maybe we should see what the Grizzly can do, just for fun. I mean, it is one of those knives that I did say that I am comparing it to, in particular, and the Kalahari Magnum as well. I think we're going Grizzly first. this visible on the camera? Quite sure. I would say about the same in length. And on this side, once again we see the Grassobolo. It cut all the way through. This is the MKB Grizzly Grassobolo. Although this is not statistically valid results or anything, and I'm cutting at different length, and I might cut harder with some knives and less hard with others. There's I'm not 100% accurate. Let's see if we can. That was a good bite. Try the Kalahari Magnum. Smaller, lighter, thinner. But I know this one chops well. So let's see what we have here again. The Grassobolo got all the way through. MKB stopped about there. MKB Grizzly. Oh. Like I said, Grassobolo 3. MKB. Grizzly Kalahari. Man, it's not so easy to look at, to be honest. Sheets are kind of the same, looking almost the same for the Kalahari Magnum and the Grizzly. I think I'm gonna make one more cut with the Grassobolo 3. Maybe we should start on a new place. Jesus. This beast chops like there is no friggin' tomorrow. Could chop this in half in 3 chops, maybe. But chopping it in half, I want to do with the MKB, I think. Also, I forgot actually. I brought the papers to do the sharpness test. I've done 2 chops. I hope it's still fairly sharp. Oops, it's kind of wet. I would say it is still fairly sharp. Anyways, it is kind of a thick piece of wood, but I'll see if I can chop it in half with the MKB. Not sure how long it will take, but maybe we can continue where we started, sort of. there's a fucking knot in the middle of it. That's a bad placement of a knot. Oh well, it is what it is. So I will agree, I was kind of sloppy. I didn't chop really the way I like to chop. But, and here's the friggin' knot. I don't know how well you can see it. But we got through in a few chops. Did the blade take any damage? The blade did not take any damage. Is it still sharp? I don't know. One single piece of paper left. Yes, it is fairly sharp. Damn, my pronunciation is getting worse by the minute. Well, that was kind of fun. Knots. Is the blade edge still looking good? It is still looking fairly good to me. Is it sharp? Well, we'll try. Yes, it is still sharp. How can that be? What should we do next? I'll have to give it a thought. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next, but I think this might be enough for a first video. We did some comparisons, we did some chopping, some batoning, some of those stuff that one should not do with a knife. Yet I did it, and yet the knife did it well. I don't have any arm hair left. It still shaves. What little hair is left to be shaved. What do I think of the knife? I think I will have to use it a bit and then get back with some more in-depth feedback. But my first impressions are that this is a good knife. It's comfortable. I like the choil. I like the handle as is. This part for the finger might be just a little bit too big for my hand. That goes with the Legion as well. But even so, it is not uncomfortable holding it. But it's like, you know, my two fingers are both in that area, in that choil-like area. But working with it like this, using the blade choil and this finger groove here, it feels very comfortable. So I'm not sure what more to say, because I want to use it now and really try it out. Could it potentially dethrone my Grizzly? Well, potentially, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I've used the Grizzly so much, but this is a comfortable knife, and I mean, I'm sure it will do well. You will see this in a lot of videos in the future, for sure. And I'm sure other people will post videos as well.